You see him confident, successful, admired by everyone, yet somehow he keeps losing in love. Why do the most accomplished men, those who seem to have it all, struggle to build lasting relationships? Today, we're uncovering the brutal truth about why high value men fail in love. And trust me, it's not what you think. Emotional unavailability is one of the silent killers of love, especially for high value men. On the outside, he looks perfect, confident, strong, in control. But beneath that polished surface lies a world of untapped vulnerability. Many high value men have been conditioned to equate emotions with weakness. From a young age, society tells them to be stoic, to solve problems instead of feeling them, to hide sadness, fear, or insecurity. And while this mindset may build resilience and drive in career or personal achievements, it creates an invisible barrier in relationships. Love demands more than strength. It demands presence, empathy, and the courage to expose your heart. When a man cannot express how he truly feels or fears being judged for his emotions, he becomes a stranger to the person who wants to connect with him the most. Emotional unavailability doesn't always look like coldness. It can be subtle, avoiding deep conversations, brushing off feelings, or keeping a distance whenever intimacy grows closer. The paradox is that these men often crave connection, yet they sabotage it before it even begins because the vulnerability required to sustain love feels uncomfortable, risky, and unfamiliar. This emotional distance is often reinforced by past experiences. Many high value men have faced rejection, heartbreak, or betrayal, leaving scars that whisper caution even when opportunity knocks. Instead of confronting these wounds, they build walls around their hearts, convincing themselves that independence and detachment are forms of self-protection. They pride themselves on being unshakable, but the truth is that this armor isolates them from the very intimacy they secretly desire. Relationships demand that we let someone in, see our flaws, and share our insecurities. But for someone who equates strength with control, that act feels terrifying. Emotional unavailability can also manifest in small, almost invisible ways. He might listen without responding, joke to deflect serious moments, or immerse himself in work to avoid real conversations. Partners often feel unseen, unheard, and unimportant, no matter how successful or accomplished he is in other areas of life. The irony is painful. A man who can inspire and lead others may fail to inspire trust and closeness in the one person who truly matters. Emotional unavailability isn't about a lack of love, it's about fear, conditioning, and unhealed wounds. Until these walls are recognized and dismantled, love remains just out of reach, leaving both partners longing for something that seems possible yet remains perpetually unattainable. Overconfidence in self-sufficiency is one of the most common reasons high-value men struggle in love, and it often hides behind the charm of independence. On the surface, being self-sufficient is admirable. It shows strength, ambition, and the ability to handle life's challenges without relying on anyone else. People admire a man who can stand on his own, who can provide, protect, and achieve without hesitation. But in relationships, overconfidence in self-sufficiency can become a silent barrier. When a man believes that he doesn't need anyone, he unknowingly communicates that love is optional rather than essential. He may dismiss emotional support from a partner, minimize the value of shared experiences, or unconsciously push people away because he feels capable of handling everything alone. While independence is a virtue in the professional world, in love it can feel like isolation. A relationship thrives on interdependence, the delicate balance of giving and receiving, of leaning on each other in moments of weakness and celebrating together in moments of joy. Overconfidence in self sufficiency creates an imbalance. It convinces the world that he is untouchable, that his world does not require someone else's presence or contribution. And yet, the truth is that human connection is not a luxury, it is a necessity. And refusing to acknowledge this need can leave even the most accomplished men alone in a life that seems full but feels empty. This overconfidence is often tied to pride and past experiences. Many high value men have built their lives from the ground up, overcoming obstacles through sheer willpower, intelligence, and determination. They've solved problems, taken risks, and created success without asking for help. And while this is undeniably impressive, it can cultivate the illusion that vulnerability is a weakness. In love, however, this mindset backfires. Relationships require compromise, the willingness to be seen in moments of doubt, and the courage to admit when you cannot do it all on your own. A man who overestimates his self sufficiency may unintentionally avoid deep conversations, fail to share responsibilities, or dismiss the emotional labor required to maintain intimacy. Partners may feel excluded from his life as though their support, guidance, or presence is unnecessary, and over time, this can erode the bond entirely. Ironically, the more he tries to demonstrate independence, the more isolated he becomes, and the more disconnected he feels from the very love he may secretly crave. Overconfidence in self sufficiency is not about arrogance. It's about a misplaced belief that personal capability alone is enough to sustain connection, without recognizing that love demands shared effort, trust, and emotional reciprocity. Even the most successful and self reliant man can find himself struggling to create a meaningful, lasting relationship. Poor communication is one of the silent relationship killers, and it affects high value men in ways that are often overlooked. Many of these men excel in leadership, negotiation, and problem solving, but the skills that make them successful in business don't automatically translate to love. In the boardroom, clarity, confidence, and authority are celebrated. In love, however, connection requires more than control. It requires listening, understanding, and emotional responsiveness. High value men often assume that their partner should just know what they want or need, or they rely on logic and strategy to navigate feelings, which can leave partners feeling unheard or misunderstood. Words, tone, and timing matter more than accomplishments when it comes to intimacy. A man might be decisive, organized, and articulate in his professional life, but when it comes to expressing love, appreciation, vulnerability, or even dissatisfaction, he may stumble, avoid, or overcomplicate simple conversations. The irony is that his success and confidence, which draw people in, can simultaneously create a barrier. A partner doesn't crave a polished argument or a perfectly executed plan. They crave presence, attention, and authentic exchange. Without these, even the strongest relationship foundation can crumble under the weight of miscommunication. Poor communication often stems from fear and conditioning. Many high value men have been taught to prioritize results over feelings, to suppress emotions in favor of action, or to protect themselves from rejection by saying less than they feel. This creates a cycle where difficult conversations are avoided, vulnerability is postponed, and frustrations are internalized. Over time, partners may feel like they are walking on eggshells, constantly guessing or trying to decode hidden meanings, which leads to emotional distance. It's not that these men don't care, they often do, but expressing care and attention requires a skill set that hasn't been nurtured. Communication in love isn't about solving problems instantly or offering advice. It's about connecting, validating, and being present even when the conversation is uncomfortable or unresolved. Small things like failing to express appreciation, dismissing a partner's emotions, or not checking in can accumulate into a sense of neglect. The consequences are subtle yet profound. Love thrives on feeling seen and understood, and without intentional, consistent communication, even a high value man can find that his relationships feel transactional, distant, or unfulfilling. Ultimately, poor communication is not about lack of effort or intention. It's about understanding that love is an active, continuous dialogue that requires patience, empathy, and courage to truly engage. Fear of intimacy is a hidden struggle that many high value men face, and it's one of the biggest obstacles to lasting love. On the surface, they seem confident, charming, and composed, but behind that exterior lies a deep, often unspoken apprehension, the fear of truly letting someone in. Intimacy requires vulnerability, the courage to expose your deepest thoughts, insecurities, and emotions to another person. And for someone who has spent years building a life of control, success, and independence, this can feel terrifying. The very traits that make a man high value, self-reliance, ambition, and discipline, can also make it difficult for him to relax his defenses. He fears that showing weakness will make him less respected, less desirable, or less in control. But in relationships, walls that protect a person from pain can also prevent connection, leaving partners feeling distant, frustrated, and unappreciated. Fear of intimacy often masquerades as aloofness, busyness, or perfectionism, but the underlying issue is the same: a reluctance to face the vulnerability that love demands. Even when he wants to connect deeply, he may unconsciously sabotage moments of closeness, avoid difficult conversations, or retreat when emotional closeness grows, creating a cycle of frustration and longing for both himself and his partner. This fear often originates from past experiences, childhood conditioning, or unresolved emotional wounds. Many high value men have been hurt before, whether through betrayal, rejection, or loss. And the memory of that pain creates an internal alarm system that warns them against closeness. In addition, societal expectations have reinforced the idea that men should be invulnerable, stoic, and in control at all times. As a result, intimacy feels risky, a potential threat to their carefully constructed identity. Ironically, the more they fear intimacy, the more they crave it, because human beings naturally desire connection and emotional closeness. But desire alone is not enough. It requires courage to bridge the gap between longing and action. Fear of intimacy can manifest in subtle ways: hesitating to share true feelings, avoiding discussions about the future, keeping emotional distance during arguments, or overanalyzing a partner's words and intentions. Partners often sense this distance and may interpret it as disinterest, when in reality, it is fear disguised as self-protection. Until this fear is acknowledged and worked through, love remains incomplete. It is not about avoiding relationships or rejecting love. It is about the challenge of allowing oneself to be fully seen, fully known, and fully accepted while risking vulnerability. Chasing perfection is one of the most subtle traps that high-value men fall into when it comes to love. On the surface, it looks like ambition, discernment, or high standards, but underneath, it is often a fear of imperfection, both in themselves and in their partners. Many high-value men have spent years building their lives meticulously, striving for excellence in every area and achieving remarkable success. That same drive and pursuit of perfection often spills into their romantic lives, creating unrealistic expectations for what love should look like. They may imagine a flawless partner who meets every emotional, intellectual, and physical criterion, someone who complements them without challenge, conflict, or flaws. But love is never perfect. It is messy, unpredictable, and often uncomfortable. It requires patience, compromise, and acceptance of both our own imperfections and those of our partners. When a man is fixated on perfection, he risks overlooking real connection, genuine chemistry, and emotional compatibility. Relationships are not a checklist to be completed. They are living, evolving experiences that thrive on imperfection, mutual growth, and emotional presence. By chasing perfection, high value men often set themselves up for disappointment, constantly comparing reality to an ideal that does not exist, and inadvertently pushing away partners who could have been a source of deep love and fulfillment. This chase is often fueled by fear, insecurity, and a desire for control. Many high value men believe that if everything and everyone in their life is perfect, they can avoid pain, failure, or rejection. They may overanalyze potential partners, searching for flaws, or hesitate to commit until someone meets all the criteria, even if the relationship is emotionally rich and meaningful. Ironically, the more they chase perfection, the more unattainable love becomes. Partners sense this scrutiny, this constant weighing against impossible standards, and it creates distance, tension, and emotional fatigue. The very qualities that make someone high value, their ambition, intellect, and drive, can intensify this behavior in love, turning what should be moments of intimacy and connection into assessments, judgments, and expectations. True love does not require perfection. It requires vulnerability, patience, and the willingness to embrace imperfection in yourself and your partner. A man who chases perfection may appear confident and selective, but underneath, there is often a quiet dissatisfaction, a restless longing for an idealized version of love that does not exist. This relentless pursuit blinds him to the beauty of authenticity, the joy of simple emotional connection, and the power of mutual growth in relationships, leaving him perpetually searching for something just beyond reach. Prioritizing image over connection is one of the most common pitfalls high value men fall into when it comes to love, and it's often invisible even to themselves. On the outside, everything seems perfect: success, status, charisma, and influence. But behind the scenes, relationships quietly suffer. Many high value men are so focused on how the world perceives them that they forget to nurture the most important relationship of all, the one with their partner. Social validation, appearances, and achievements can become addictive. They are visible markers of success that are easier to measure than the intangible work of emotional intimacy. The problem is that relationships don't thrive on appearances. Love requires presence, attention, and authentic engagement, and none of these can be faked or outsourced. When a man prioritizes his image over genuine connection, he may attend events, post the perfect pictures, or maintain an enviable lifestyle, all while neglecting the quiet daily acts that sustain a relationship. Listening when a partner is upset, sharing his own vulnerabilities, or simply spending quality time without distraction. Over time, partners begin to feel like an accessory to status rather than a source of emotional fulfillment, and even the most polished life can feel hollow. This tendency is often rooted in a mix of ego, insecurity, and societal conditioning. High value men are frequently taught that being admired is a sign of worth, that public perception equals validation, and that showing weakness diminishes respect. While this mindset can drive success in career and social circles, it becomes a liability in love. Relationships demand authenticity over appearance. They thrive when both partners feel safe to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to experience emotions without judgment. When image takes priority, small but vital aspects of intimacy, apologies, honest conversations, physical presence, and emotional support, can be overlooked. The partner may notice the inconsistency, the distance, or the lack of emotional reciprocity, leading to frustration, confusion, or resentment. Even the grandest gestures of wealth or status cannot replace the quiet, consistent work of building emotional closeness. Ironically, the more a man focuses on how he is perceived, the less he is truly seen. True high value in love is not about being admired, it is about being present, vulnerable, and fully engaged with the person you care about. When the balance tips toward image and away from connection, love becomes transactional, superficial, and ultimately unsatisfying, leaving a void that no amount of success or social approval can fill. At the end of the day, being high value isn't just about success, money, or admiration. It's about the ability to love and be loved fully. All the achievements in the world can't replace emotional presence, vulnerability, and genuine connection. Emotional unavailability, overconfidence in self sufficiency, poor communication, fear of intimacy, chasing perfection, and prioritizing image over connection. These are the silent reasons why even the most accomplished men struggle in love. But here's the truth. Awareness is the first step toward change. You can be ambitious, independent, and driven, and still create a relationship that is deeply fulfilling. It starts with letting down the walls, embracing imperfection, speaking from the heart, and choosing connection over image. Love is not a reward for success, it is a practice, a choice, and a daily act of courage. The men who truly succeed in love are not those who are flawless or invincible. They are the ones who dare to be human, who risk vulnerability, and who prioritize presence, empathy, and emotional intimacy above all else.